Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today's a special episode. We're bringing Roger Thompson back on the show to finally announce our book has finally been released. We've been working on this for a long time. For those that don't know Roger, if you didn't catch the first episode, he is the Vice President for Student Services and Enrollment Management over at the University of Oregon. Roger, welcome back to the show.
Hey, it's great to be back with you, Adam. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's and a great New Year it is. Nothing makes me happier than a new book to promote and having an author on the show. So I'm excited to have you back. We were saying in the warm up, I'm like, man, it's like we're getting the band back together. I'm excited to hear a little bit more about what's going on in your year, plans for the future. Of course, we're going to do a deep dive into the book on this episode and talk more about your writing. But you already know the drill. We'll start this episode the way that we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Roger, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Roger, what mission matters to you?
Well, Adam, this is why I always enjoy being with you, because mission does matter. And the University of Oregon has a mission to, create graduates that think critically, and logically, and live ethically, and do things to make a difference in the world. And that mission is something that I identify with. And when I think about my own mission, I want to develop leaders. I want to help create a better place, a top-notch organization where our people want to be part of our team, and empower people to be their very best selves and to make a difference in the work that they do and to impact the students and families that we see in higher education. So I'm really excited to be with you. Mission matters. It's the key element that I think sometimes doesn't get enough attention. And so it's just fun to be back with you and excited to talk about this chapter and the things that I wrote. Should be fun. So looking forward to it.
So to get us kicked off, Roger, I don't want to assume that all our new listeners or new viewers caught maybe some of the previous work we've done together. So maybe go into your background a little bit and really how you got started in higher education.
Sure. I mean, I've been in higher education over 30 years now, which is kind of surprising to me. But it began, I think, because lots of, like many people that go to college, I had great mentors. I had people that really believed in the things that I thought were important and encouraged me to pursue my career. So that began at the University of Central Missouri and moved on to the University of Southern California. And then I really got into the enrollment piece, and I loved connecting with students and families and talking about a student's future and what they might want to do. And that led me to the University of Alabama, and I had a good time there. 8.5 years or 4 football coaches, depending on how you'd like to measure it. And then I went to Indiana University, and it was a great place. And I've been at the University of Oregon for 13 years. Throughout, I think I've always tried to empower people, create a strong work environment, a place where achievement matters. We don't confuse achievement with activity. There's a difference. And so we're about achievement. And I've just been very fortunate. I've had the chance to meet lots of wonderful people and be mentored by some great leaders. And hopefully I'm making a difference with my team and enabling some folks to be leaders too. So that's the very quick wrap on how I got into higher education and the difference I'm trying to make.
And throughout your career, one of the common themes is that you've been for many of those years really at the forefront of admission, of growing growing and attracting the right students to the universities that you were representing. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate at each of the places where I've been responsible and in a senior leadership role, University of Alabama, Indiana, and at Oregon. We've done things that have been unprecedented, Adam. We've set records at each of those places that had never been broken. And those are universities that have been around for, since the 1800s.
Yeah.
We've done things that were first in the country. I'm really proud of that at all 3 of those places, we did things that had never been done before. So we've always been innovative, trailblazing. The tree, I have a lot of people that refer to it as the Thompson tree. I'm not sure I like that necessarily, but I've had a lot of people who've worked in our organization that have gone on to be vice presidents at other major universities. And so the work that our team has done, the way that we've kind of moved the organization forward, I think has been innovative. It's been unprecedented, trailblazing. And it's been a heck of a lot of fun, and so it's really been it's been terrific. And all three of those schools are such great schools. I loved every one of them. So it's been a really good ride, and excited to see what 2023 brings for us. But setting lofty goals and achieving them. Oh my gosh, that's one of the best things you can do in your life. There's nothing better. It's just fantastic. And if we could put that in a bottle, Adam, and give it to middle school kids, I'm telling you, we wipe out a bunch of problems because it's really powerful stuff when you set a big goal and then you accomplish it.
What's one of you've been, in a position of leading and managing large teams for a long time, specifically in the collegiate, atmosphere. What's one of the things that draws you to the collegiate atmospheres, and just kind of one of your favorite part about working with the faculty?
Yeah, it's a great question. It gets back to the mission. I love the mission of higher education. We help young people dream and aspire and imagine a future that sometimes they can't even define. And that's a fantastic process to be involved in. And so that drew me. Like a lot of people, I say I loved college. I loved my own college experience. So I don't know, maybe I never wanted to leave, Adam. Like I'm still walking around college campuses and still love it. So, but that difference, we get to interact at a time that's really transformational for a student, right? That move from high school into college. And I really believe that, we've all heard the story or maybe experienced it ourselves of that faculty member or that administrator, that leader that makes a difference in a student's life. And many times you don't even know when that's occurring, but it happens often. And that's what keeps you coming back. I'm really proud, a student that I worked with years ago, she's one of the best students that I ever worked with, one of the best. She's now the first female United States Senator from the state of Alabama. Katie, wow. She's married now, Katie Britt. She was Katie Boyd when I knew her. She was a university senior. She was amazing. She was such a talented woman. You could see it 20 years ago. And now she's a United States Senator. And I'm really proud of her, Adam. But it's those kinds of differences you can make that are really fun.
Oh, I love it. It's a great story. And in preparing for this interview, I always get nostalgic when I get to talk to you, because I do associate you with some of my college memories, even though we didn't go to the same college. We have nothing to do with college, but it's because you're in that environment. So I feel like for anybody that, had the opportunity and the privilege to attend a university, that they probably have friends and other things that they keep in contact with. I was talking to a good buddy of mine, Adam Hengesbaugh, who he's now actually a podcast host on our network as well, but we met like a long time ago, and I told him about the interview we're doing, and we were reminiscing on college stories. So I feel like amazing. So anytime you get to kind of have that feel, it's almost like a time machine. You get that shot of energy, that thing, you get that maybe permission to dream again or to think about different things. And it's like when we were, doing our college thing, and we weren't looking forward to say, okay, like being a podcast host and doing this and doing that. Can't even think about what our quote unquote like career plans were at that time, right?
Right. Yeah, you probably didn't major in podcast host.
I don't even know if they had them back then. I don't know.
I doubt they did. So, I mean, it's those kinds of experiences, right? That just, they make such a difference. And I like to think that's what I've done throughout my career. And it gets back to, it's why I always enjoy being with you, Adam, because it gets back to, it's about the mission. It's about, what are you trying to do? What's the difference you're trying to make? And so that's been really rewarding throughout my career.
So let's switch this up a bit. And Roger, you should not have told me about the Roger Thompson tree. That's immortalized. That's forever now in my mind, and it will be referenced. And now it will be throughout all interviews we ever do. I promise. Sorry, but that's immortalized now. But if it wasn't already, but I want to jump around a bit here, and I want to talk. Let's dive into the book. So
Yeah.
3 components of strong leadership. So a lot of different. I mean, you have a wide breadth of experience, of roles, of things you've done, and responsibilities. Why did you feel it was important to present this topic for our latest release?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think leadership's the core of what makes successful organizations, right? And as a sports fan, I always say, if you don't believe leadership matters, look at what happens when coaches are changed sometimes, right? A program can go from not being very successful to being highly successful in a year or two. Leadership matters. And so when I thought about this chapter, for me, I wanted to write about what are the components that make a good leader? What are the things that are important? And I talk in the chapter about, the best resource you have is your human resources. And I read this from Jack Welch, the former CEO of General Electric. He wrote in his book that nothing was more important than hiring. I read this probably 20 years ago. And when he was CEO at General Electric, a major company,
Wow.
he would interview mid-managers. People say, "What are you doing? You're the CEO." And he'd say, "I'm creating the culture. This is what makes a difference in the organization." And so some of those leadership topics, things I've thought about and studied over the years, that's what I wanted to convey in the book. And the idea that it's not just that leadership matters, it's how do you interact with your team? How do you build a team? How do you support a team? All those kinds of things are what I was trying to get across in the pages. And it really does matter. You won't accomplish anything if you don't have a good team and if you don't have good people with everybody rowing in the same direction, really clear on the purpose and how we're going to get things done. That's what makes a difference. And so that was kind of the goal of taking on sort of leadership as the topic, because I think it's the core of what makes successful organizations.
Yeah. And one thing that I do like about what you wrote and how you presented it was that you added some, very actionable and core elements of what some things are that have made a difference in your leadership and leadership style, and really what it's taken for you to get where you're at and to manage large organizations. And as you mentioned prior to, really trailblaze in the university environment at multiple universities over time and do things that be the first and do things that hadn't been done before. So I'm going to give the audience, I'll read just a couple of these, and just so everybody knows, we're not going to go into all of these, and that's intentional. Why? Because I still need you to buy the book. Okay. We're a publisher. All right. So this is still, we don't give it all away, but I'll give you some of it. So these are some of the things that Roger talked about in the chapter. So managing time, managing budgets, managing people, communicating clearly and concisely, operating with integrity, showing care and compassion, leading by example, delivering enthusiasm and inspiration, trusting your people. So I'm going to pick, 1 or 2 of these that I want to elaborate and kind of dig a little bit deeper in, that just stick with me. And the first one that I want to kind of delve a little bit deeper into, Roger, is really leading by example. Like what does that mean to you, and what has it meant in your career?
Yeah, it's I think it's a really important component to building a high achieving team, right? And so for me as a leader, I always want our team, and I lead a pretty big team, 1,900 people, over a $200 million budget. And I want every one of our team members to know that I'm not going to ask them to do anything that I'm unwilling to do myself. Yeah. And so with leading by example, the first one that comes to mind, that I was speaking with a group earlier this week, and someone brought this up because I guess it was more impactful than I even thought. So we have an admissions team of recruiters that go out to high schools and meet with students and parents. And I decided one year that I was going to visit 150 high schools. Now, our team members that are paid to do this full time typically go to about 60 or 70. And I'm not really paid to be out visiting high schools. That's not my job. But I wanted us to be more engaged, to sort of up our game a little bit. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to try to double what the average person does. And I didn't say a whole lot about it. I just went and did it because I wanted to lead by that example, to say, I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I can't do. I'm a vice president. I'm really not paid to be doing this, but you're paid full time to do it. So if I can do 150, surely you can do more than 75. And I wanted that unfiltered feedback from the people that I was meeting with. I'll tell you, it changed a culture in that area, because I think people realized that when I talked about we're going to work hard and we're going to play hard and we're going to achieve a lot, well, I was kind of doing that. Now, I'll tell you, Adam, sometimes this can get you in a little bit of trouble. I once had the bright idea that I would work our front desk and answer phones for an hour. Oh my gosh, was that a disaster? I didn't know half of what they were called. So
of course not. That's a skill. That's hard.
That business fast. But the principle of saying, I'm here to pitch in and do my part, I think got conveyed. And I just think it's important for leaders to recognize that, a leader with no followers is just a guy taking a walk. And so you've got to be able to create followers and an energy. And so leading by example is really important. I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always interesting when someone does this, because what happens a lot of times, and this has just been in my experience, and I've heard from many other individuals with much larger companies and teams than myself, but is that people are always watching. Like, they're always watching, they're sizing you up. They're kind of like day by day, whether they're doing it consciously, whether they're doing it unconsciously, they're kind of making that decision every day, whether it's going to work virtually or in person or get in the car, of if they're on the right path for them and if they're really inspired. And I can remember maybe some large organizations I worked for, amazing people, amazing things, but at certain points in time, there were at certain intersections. I remember looking at maybe some of our senior leadership, great leaders, but I just looked at them and I was like, did I want to go on the same path? Could I see myself wanting to be in their shoes? Like, is that what I wanted? Is that what it looks like? And many of the times the leadership style just didn't match what I was looking for. But for leaders that lead by example, I feel like every day is a gut check. It's a gut check. Like, you're out there you're in the trenches working, regardless of, like, I love your story about, or your example about Jack Welch, and even interviewing like mid-level managers for a company that huge, unheard of. Like, it's not happening. Or like the Howard Schultz, like going into Starbucks when they were, on that decline way back when, and like seeing what the customers wanted and going to the front line. Like who does that, right?
Right. That's exactly right. And I think it sets a tone for your organization. And of course, people watch. I'm the vice president. I'm the leader of the organization. What is he doing? What does he just sit in his office and make decisions? Heck no. I'm out there trying to lead by example. And I think, part of that creates the participation, the feeling that everyone can contribute. I mean, how awful would it be if you didn't know what your role was, or you didn't know how you fit into the bigger picture? I think those are awful kinds of positions, right? Everybody wants to be part of something bigger. That's human nature. And it's up to the leader to convey, well, what is the something bigger that we're working on? And I'm excited about it. I get fired up. I want to do it every day. Come on, let's all do it. And so I think that's, you mentioned enthusiasm and inspiration. That was one section that I wrote about, and it's really important. I mean, if you can't get fired up to go in and do your job as the leader, boy, nobody else is going to be excited.
Yeah. So another one that I like, and we're gonna get a little bit more nuts and bolts on this one, but managing budgets. So especially like you mentioned, big team, 1,900 plus, 200 million plus budget. So let's talk to the small business owner for a little while here. And so maybe that would be earlier in your career, a little bit of a smaller budget, right? For your whatever you were stewarding. Like how important are the budget, the mechanics, and like really the operation side of things, and how does that relate to leadership?
Yeah, it's a great question. Great question, Adam. Um, Budgets, in my mind, are the financial reflection of your priorities and values, right?
Mm,
I mean, if you don't spend money, if you just talk about it and you don't spend money on it, well, it must not be a priority or a value. So I think budgets are a reflection of what your priorities and values are, and whether the budget's a really big one or a small one. Here's the first tip I'd give to every business owner. I've yet to work for a university that thought they had enough money.
yeah.
I haven't met one yet. And so every organization, I think, always believes they need more resources, right?
Mm.
But the good leader strategically uses their resources in a way to maximize them and to support what their goals and ambitions are. And so I'm 30 years of managing budgets. I've never been in deficit. I've always every year we balance. I always kid our budget people that for every nickel we receive, I want to spend a dime.
Yeah.
But we got to figure out how to balance it, how to prioritize, how to make sure that we're investing in the things that are important. And it's why I come back to that old. It's actually a John Wooden, the famous coach at UCLA. He had a quote that said, don't confuse activity with achievement. There's a difference, right? And so I tell my team, if we're talking about activity, well, a hamster runs on a wheel really fast. That's a lot of activity, but they don't go anywhere. And so it's about achievement. And if you don't get your budget aligned to the things you wish to accomplish and achieve, you're not going to get there. And so to me, as I began this answer, it's really it's the fiscal manifestation, I guess, the way you demonstrate your priorities and your vision. So budgets are really important, and find ways to leverage, find ways to partner, find ways to take that dollar and extend it. We do that a lot in my organizations. Here's some federal money to help students. Well, how can we build on that to really impact them even more? And so it's one of the most important things a leader can do, because it demonstrates what's important to you, how you spend your money.
So I want to jump around a bit here. So I want to spend some time also talking about what you're currently doing present day over at University of Oregon. So maybe tell us a little bit more about your role and some of your initiatives.
Yeah, we've got some exciting things happening. So in 2021, we set a record for the largest, most diverse, most academically prepared freshman class in the history of the university. And they've been admitting freshman classes since 1876. So that was no small feat. But guess what? In 2022, we broke that record by over 700 students. So from an enrollment standpoint, I'm really proud of our team. And this year looks like we're already tracking well ahead of where 2022 was. So that's really exciting news. We've got a big project. This was a vision that I wanted to bring to reality for some time. It's called our Housing Transformation Project. And what we did was we're taking down several of the oldest buildings on campus, the oldest residence halls. I sort of compare them to a DC-10, DC-10s used to fly passengers around, but none of us get on a DC-10 anymore. They were built in the 50s, as were these residence halls. So we're knocking those down, eliminates deferred maintenance, where we were spending millions of dollars on deferred maintenance, and we're building beautiful structures in their place, which has transformed the eastern part of our campus. We've opened one of the buildings already. It's our most popular residence hall on campus. We took dining to a whole new level. We have what we call Pacific Northwest Marketplace in there. You can get Japanese food, Indian food, Italian food, vegan, vegetarian, plus the normal things you might find. And we opened a state-of-the-art student welcome center. The next two buildings in this project, Adam, will open this fall 2023. So that's been a huge project, really exciting, $220 million project. And it's about to be completed. And it's just changed a whole section of the campus in a way that is even better than what we imagined. So we've got, we just expanded our university health services. So our team of doctors and nurses and all those folks that take care of 23,000 students have new space, expanded space, nicer space. we got a lot cooking, and it's fun. We're making a difference, and you can see it in the way that our students and parents view the university every day.
Wow. And so amazing to hear, number one. And I think about your growth overall and the numbers that you're hitting and the increasing enrollment, numbers, and how you're even beating those numbers, right? And I think everything that you said, I'm sure this all plays in the mix. But I'm interested to hear, like, what do you attribute maybe some of the success to when it comes to the people side of the equation? Whether it be your team, the faculty, just overall, like, what do you attribute maybe some of that success in, like, just as you said, or as I say, achieving uncommon results?
Yeah. Oh, I like the way you put that. I think it always comes down to team. I like to think I'm a good leader. I know how to surround myself with good team members, and some of the principles that are important to us as a team, I think, are what are resulting in the great numbers. I tell our team all the time, in higher education, we ask families to entrust us with the most important thing in their life, their son or daughter. Not many industries ask that. In fact, I would argue that's the most important question, most significant question one person can ask of another, to entrust us with what matters most to them. And if you start from that foundation, Adam, if you start from that base principle of this is the business that we're in, I think it changes the way you look at everything else. And I think it develops the interactions that make a difference for us, right? I probably shouldn't have said this. All these people are going to watch your show, and now they're going to know the secret sauce. But it really is. It's that human connection and understanding the important role that we play. And our team is fantastic. I had a colleague that I hired, one of our associate vice presidents, not long ago. And it's really funny because I said to her, I want you to come be part of our team, and I'm going to give you a blank canvas and all the paints and all the brushes, everything you need. And I want you to create a masterpiece. And she looked at me and she said, Roger, that's really empowering. And I said, yeah, you're talented. I want to support you and help you and enable you to do that. Long pause. And then she said to me, yeah, but you didn't ask for a painting. You asked for a masterpiece. I said, well, yeah, my expectations are high. But, I think we attract people that want to set big goals and achieve them. And so it's been, I'm really proud of our team, Adam. I can't tell you how proud I am of the leaders in our organization. And I think that's why so many of them get hired to be vice presidents at other major universities and go on to do wonderful things. And so, but yeah, we're kind of knocking it out of the park at the moment. Knock on wood. I hope it continues.
I believe it will. And every time we speak, I learn something from you. Not just on leadership, but also on the phrasing. So I love this idea of the masterpiece and the painting and all I usually tell my team is, hey, just over deliver. I like your way of saying it. It's so much more friendly. It's better. It's like, oh man, I learned so much from hosting this show, and I'm grateful. well, just over deliver. Okay. Like, that does not sound that good.
Yeah, go to the masterpiece thing, Adam. It plays very well.
I'm on it. Noted. And our producer, one of our producers, Jai, I know you're listening to this, so you're going to hear the masterpiece one now. Well, Roger, I just have to say, it has been great having you back on the show. I look forward to continuing to promote the recent release of the book that we created together. And really, it's getting great reviews, great praise. I know it's making a difference in the lives of our readers and listeners. So I thank you for, of course, being part of the book. And I just wanted to ask, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the career? I know you got a lot on your horizon.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I think what's next, and let me just say, it was a pleasure to be part of your book, Adam. And please, people out there, purchase the book wherever books are sold. It's available. Go get it. I think next for me, I mentioned the housing transformation project. We'd like to get that wrapped up. We're going to keep setting lofty goals, and we're going to keep pushing ourselves to be an ever better organization. And we'll take a moment to celebrate, as we always do, the accomplishments. But I think for me, it's how can I be even more impactful? How can I take the the areas that are my responsibility, we're cutting edge, we're doing things unprecedented. How can I take that and just be more impactful in new and different ways? And that's kind of the goal for me in 2023. And I'm excited to see what that looks like. I don't entirely know, but I know we've got a good team, and we'll continue to make a difference. And thank you so much for having me on. It's always great to see you too, Adam.
Well, thank you. And if somebody is watching this and listening to this and they want to learn more and just to follow your journey and what's going on at the university, I mean, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh gosh, I'd say check out LinkedIn. You'll find me there. I'm on Twitter. I still can't believe I say that, but my team got me on Twitter.
Good job, team out there. Get them on Twitter. People need to hear. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, so those two places for sure, they can hit us up, and of course they can always go to our website at the University of Oregon, ssem.uoregon.edu, and there's lots of information out there about who we are and what we're doing. So any of those places, please let me know if I can ever be helpful to your listeners and the readers and all the rest.
Wonderful. And we'll put all that information in the show notes so that everybody can just check it out, click on the links. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters or engaging with an episode or listening to one, we're all about bringing on business owners, entrepreneurs, executives, and experts and having them share their mission, the reason behind their mission, really why they do what they do, what gets them fired up to go out there into the world and make a difference each and every day. If that's the type of content that sounds interesting or fun or engaging or exciting to you, hit that subscribe button, because we have many more mission-based individuals coming up on the line, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Roger, again, really been a pleasure. Look forward to the next time we get to work together. Thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Great to be with you.